What would you ask a lawyer if you could ask them anything? My brother and I opened up an answering machine to allow friends and family to do just that. The questions we received were remarkable. So remarkable, in fact, that we decided to turn them into a podcast. Now, while this podcast isn't legal advice and it's just for fun, we think you're really going to like what you hear. With that being said, my name's Nathan Beam, and I help run a personal injury law firm in Melbourne, Florida.
My name's Riley Beam, and I'm a personal injury attorney.
And from the law offices of Douglas R. Beam, this is Good Questions for Bad Days.
Okay, in our world of COVID, if I have taken all the precautions I can possibly take, but I am at the grocery store and someone who knows they have COVID is there without a mask on or something along those lines, and we can absolutely definitively prove in some way that they are probably the ones who gave it to me, is there anything that could be done about that, or do you see a world where that starts happening?
There could be, but it's not as easy as you would think. In Florida, we had a law passed this year in March of 2021 that the idea behind it was that we need to get back. We need to get back to work. We need to get back to business again. We got to encourage people to go out. We got to encourage businesses to open up. So what they've done is they passed a law that said if you contract COVID, and even if you can prove where it came from, you have to find that the at-fault person or company was either intentional in giving it to you, or they were grossly negligent. And that's a much higher standard than simple negligence. So in this fact pattern at the store proving someone had it, you're going to have to look at a lot of different things. Even if someone has COVID, they may have defense. What's grossly negligent? Or if you're wearing a mask, does that make it no longer grossly negligent? If it's day 14 of you having COVID and that's what the rules say, or it's day 15, but yours lasted a little bit longer and you gave it to somebody, can you even prove when you started to have it? How bad were your symptoms? What kind of behavior were you engaging in the store? Were you kind of willy-nilly coughing on stuff? You being the COVID infected person. So to prove that they're grossly negligent really depends who you ask. Some people would be horribly offended at the idea that someone would go out in public and risk getting others sick. Other people might say, what are we supposed to do? We've had it for a little bit. We need to get on with it and move on. So, I would make the argument if you are aware that you're sick and you are actively putting yourself in situations where you can get other people sick, that could be grossly negligent. But it depends who you ask. So it's not a slam dunk case. And then you also have to consider, just because you got COVID, what are your damages? So are you one of the people who got really sick from it, had to spend a lot of time in the hospital, lost a lot of work from it? Or did you get COVID, you had to stay home for 2 weeks, and life goes on? So you might have a case, but it might not be worth pursuing.
Well, that feels pretty straightforward, right? If you're sick, don't cough in people's faces, things like that, and just be courteous. And if you think that someone has gotten you sick on purpose, you may have some legal options before you. If you're facing a legal issue, particularly a personal injury one, call us. With over $100 million in settlements and verdicts for families in Central Florida, we've gotten pretty good at what we do. And in the 35 years we've been open, the reviews and the word from the community, I think, is representative of that. So if you're facing any sort of legal issue, you should call us. If we can't help you, there's a really good chance that we know someone who can. And hey, if you're an attorney who's listening to this podcast and is looking for co-counsel in Florida, you should also give us a call. We regularly work on multi-million-dollar cases and would be happy to help. You can reach us at 321-723-6591 or at dougbeam.com. And from all of us, the law office of Douglas R. Beam, we really appreciate you listening, and we're looking forward to answering more good questions for bad days.